Thank you. Thanks, everybody. No, please, sit down. Sit down. It's embarrassing. So, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to see you all here. The Big Apple. That was hard. It was a hard landing, which I did this morning. I was in Chicago. I had been in Columbus and then Toledo, and then Chicago last night, and got up at 4 o'clock this morning to get an airplane here to arrive on time to meet the masses. And I was flying into Newark, and suddenly the plane was diverted. Airplane caught fire on Newark, so I was here 2 hours late, and so I apologize for that. But I'll continue signing autographs and doing pictures and everything that you want me to do, make up the lost time. But I learned something from a nearby passenger who said, I said, why don't they circle Newark until the fire on this Canadian airplane, the shame of it. I guess a battery or something caught fire in the whole. We'll find out more about it in the news, but who needed that from a Canadian airplane catches fire in Newark? So we go to Philadelphia, and then we come back, and I was reminded about flying and how really essentially easy it is now. You can depend on it most of the time. Every so often, something happens on an airplane and you think, hey, maybe we're not supposed to fly. I learned to fly as a private pilot in Florida when I was doing summer theater there. Anyway, I had the afternoons free in Palm Beach. Thanks. You've been there, huh? Yeah. In Palm Beach, so I soloed there, and then I continued flying in Santa Monica in Los Angeles. And then there was a program on American Sportsman, something like that. So I would do all these crazy things for American Sportsman. So they said one time, why don't we give you aerobatic lessons, and we'll fly you down to Florida, and we'll go to the Air Force base there, and you'll learn to fly from a military guy in what they called a pit special. It's by two wings, a biplane. I said biplane, and that's what happened. I had a week's worth of Cuban rolls and loops and things, but it's a tail dragger, the pit special. So I'd learned to fly in a Cessna. Come in, you see the runway, you get your angle, and you float in. But on a tail dragger, as you approach the runway, you have to have the nose up to bleed off speed, and you can't see the runway. Okay? And we were trying to solo so that the film would have an ending. So late Saturday afternoon, the military guy says, oh, okay, you can solo, but be careful. Remember that I've been teaching you, when you land, keep the stick back, because otherwise this plane has a tendency, it's an innocuous term called ground loop, but what that means is it goes, and suddenly you're upside down. So the sun is setting, they wanted good light, and I'm up in the air by myself, soloing for the first time, and I come around, and I go to land, and I can't see the runway, and now I realize I can't see the runway. What you've got to do is look over the side to make sure you're on the runway. And I was very nervous, and they said, if you can't do it, before I took off, if you can't do it, go around. It's called a go-round. So I went around, and I can't see any more of the run. And now the sun is, now I've got to land. I can't land. I go around for the third time, and I plunk it down, and I was safe and sound. But I learned the joy of flying from that episode, and I continued flying in in soaring airplanes and gliders, and even to where I strapped on a 75-pound propeller on my back with a kite, and you run like hell, and you try and get up to 12 miles an hour when that's flying speed, and you jump, and theoretically the kite takes hold and the propeller starts, and you're flying with the birds. And that's what I did. I flew with the birds day after day. Some of them crapped on me, but it was... Anyway, that's by way of saying hello. I'm sorry that the commercial airplane didn't work. I have flown in on other occasions. On the biggest paintball war in Joliet, Illinois, I flew in with that kind of thing, and it was kind of special. But I'm here, and I'm ready to take your questions. So
ladies and gentlemen, here's how we're going to do the questions. First off, fire regulations require that I say that, what?
Good Lord. I just said good Lord. I didn't mean anything by it. I just said good Lord. Can I say good Lord? Good Lord.
We cannot have people sitting in this aisle here, please.
Don't. Gee, don't sit.
So, those of you who are sitting in this aisle, please don't.
Get out of the way.
Okay. Okay, now, just because you moved your butt 3 inches over doesn't mean you're out of the aisle.
Move
please
your
do
butt
not
3 inches over.
Please do not be sitting on the
With
floor.
that butt,
if you're in front of the chair
3
zone,
inches is
please
not gonna do
find
it.
a chair. There's still a few seats here and there. Thank you very much. Now, having done that,
Yes.
if you have a question, please line up in the aisle so that you're on your feet and not sitting down. And I'll stand here with a mic so that everybody can hear your question. Will that work for you, sir?
You're going to stand there so everybody can hear the question? Oh, he doesn't have a mic. Why don't you give him your mic? I don't need you to stand beside me. There you go. No, move your butt 3 inches over, please. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
I work with
What's your name?
Ira.
Hello, Ira.
How you doing?
Good.
I work with horses, and I know of
You
your
work
love
with
of
who?
Horses. And I know of your love of horses, right? Horses. Horses.
Orphis.
No, horses.
Horses.
Yes.
Oh, horses.
Horses.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'm from New York.
There's an R in there. Why don't you pronounce the R?
I'm from New York. Anyway, I know of your love of horses, and I wonder if you still ride.
Do.
Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm competing on horses all the time. In fact, I have my charity horse show I put on every year called the Hollywood Charity Horse Show. Raises funds. Good. Go to horseshow.org if you want to help children and veterans. And so that's a reining show. I'm into reiners a lot, but I'm also into American saddlebreds and even standardbreds, driving horses. And a friend of mine from Bowling Green, Kentucky, who was sheriff at Bowling Green, his name is Peanuts. So they call him Sheriff Peanuts. So he called me the other day, Peanuts. Bail! That's like the way, Bail! It's an I, but he pronounces it with a Y. Yeah? Bail! I said, who's this? Bail! Sheriff Peanuts, yeah. How you doing, road horse man? They call me road horse man. You know why? Because I drive road horses. What's your question?
Well, that was the question. Oh.
That's your question?
Yeah, and you probably never hear this, but I really
well,
like Star
no,
Trek.
I mean, I love dogs, horses. I've bred Dobermans. I tried to breed a Doberman, my female Espresso. I have Espresso, whose father is Starbuck. Starbuck, we had to put him down last year. And his daughter, not too long after, who was 10 years old, which is a long time for a Doberman, whose name was Cappuccino. And so Espresso was left, and we loved on Espresso, but she was alone. So I called this friend of mine. I'm going to give you his name. Dr. Trevor Miller, ER, I believe, who is a chiropractor for dogs, horses, and human beings, if you can believe it. And it really works, okay? So I called Trevor, and I said, we got to breed my bitch. I don't want to... Well, that's a dog term, you know. You know, I don't really mean it. It's just we got to breed my female dog. That's so clumsy. Except the word bitch. Bitch, okay? It's a dog. So, because I said, I've got to have a male puppy. I've got to have a male puppy, continuing the lines of my male dog now I had to put down. So he said, great. So we unite my female dog, Espresso, and then and it looked like it took, but you have to wait 6 weeks before you can ultrasound. At the end of ultrasound, we were ultrasounding, and I said, I know she's pregnant, because I know the universe wants me to have a male dog. I just felt it. You know how you feel that? Like unity with the universe. You look up at the stars and you feel, you know, you're part of the dark matter, the dark energy, the explosions, the stardust, the forming of stars, all the whole thing. You're part of it, and you know at certain times the universe wants you to have something, and I knew the universe wanted me to have a male dog. So they ultrasound her, and there's nothing there. She had absorbed it. I said the same thing. So I said, let's wait till she comes in again in 4 or 5 months, and we'll breed her again, because, hey, the universe wants me to have a male puppy. She comes in. I call Trevor. Trevor, we breed the dog, and 6 weeks later, there's something there. There's puppies in there. And I'm going to take the best male puppy from that litter, 7, 8, 9. I've had litters before, 9 puppies. Half, usually, you know, about half male, half female. So you have your pick. I'm going to pick the best. 11 weeks later, she hasn't delivered yet. We take her in, and the vet says, there's some difficulty going on. I'm going to do a C-section. So we're there, my wife and I, Elizabeth and I are there, and, you know, all dressed, and slice away. And there is the male puppy that the universe wanted. Giant. It's a singleton, it's called, because there was one puppy. Instead of 9, there was one giant male puppy dead. Stillborn. I realized the universe didn't give a shit. The universe couldn't care less. One way or another, the universe doesn't care. And so all that mystical thing, you know, 2 black holes circling each other, combining, an explosion in space, and the universe is expanding at 13.8 billion years to the far reaches, and it's expanding, and where is it going? All the mysticism of and awe and wonder of the universe couldn't care less about me having a male puppy. Couldn't care. It doesn't care. All that cares is you care about me and I care about you. That's it. Love. Here. That's it. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much.
Okay, who's next? Yeah, form a line here, form a line here.
Who is this guy? He's got all a military thing with his cams on, boots and tall. Look at you with your little hat on. Is that a real thing? Are you a little Amish?
No, and I'm not.
Are you Hamish? Are you Amish or Hamish?
Neither. I'm a handmaiden from The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, you're a handmaiden. Yes. What does that mean?
Well, it in the story by Margaret Atwood.
The Handmaiden. Got it.
Gotcha. On Netflix.
I haven't seen it. Is it any good?
It is. It's violent, but it's a very important messages for all of us.
Wait a minute. It's violent, but?
But.
It's got an important message.
It does.
What's the message? Violence?
The message, well, it's about a dystopia in the near
a utopia
future.
Of violence?
In it, actually, a fundamentalist Christian sect has taken over a portion of the United States.
Oh.
and everybody's put into a role.
Oh.
And so the upper class are having difficulty reproducing, and so they have the handmaiden, that would be me, who would go move into the household and really be, in essence, a slave, but would bear their children.
You mean the master of the house lies with the handmaiden, and the union is a baby? Why doesn't he have a baby with his wife?
Oh, well, there's fertility problems, and many
A
people
fertility problem that the handmaiden doesn't have.
Correct, because she's already had a child recently or has been tested.
And where does the violence come from?
Well, it's not in that part, not during what's called the ceremony, no. However, the women are very heavily oppressed in this story. So
the women are oppressed? Is that a message? Are you like a feminist?
Well, my daughter doesn't like that term, but I do. I would call myself a feminist.
What would your daughter... Okay, ladies, calm down. It's a whole new area. There's a whole new thought process going on, isn't there? I mean, the Me Too and the feminist movement's been around for for history, which includes no alcohol, prohibition, and all that. And now, women. I have 3 daughters and 3 female grandchildren, all of whom have to break the glass ceiling and get equal pay and have the. But still, for people of my generation, it's like you're walking around on tiptoes. I mean, you don't know who you're insulting. I said, somebody, you're a lady. He said, don't call me a lady. What do you call? What do you say? You can't say to a lady, you look really great. You can't do that anymore. What's that?
Yeah, I don't fully understand it. I think that...
See, you're a feminist. You don't fully understand it. How do you expect a male to It's incomprehensible to some people. Okay, we got rid of that. What's your question?
I used to live in Fairfield, Iowa, short
Wait a
distance
minute, you used to what?
I used to live in Fairfield, Iowa,
Oh,
which
Fairfield.
is a short distance from Riverside, Iowa, where Captain Kirk will supposedly be born in the near
Can you
future.
ever forgive me? Do you know about Riverside, Iowa? Oh, I'm going to tell you about it. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I actually, it was the subject of a movie that you shot.
Yes,
Was it
called Invasion, Iowa.
Invasion, Iowa, yes. And my Star Trek club and I have watched this film.
What do you think of it?
I think that the town needed to develop a quick sense of humor because they were being roasted. Or
They took it rather seriously, didn't they?
They took it
So
way
let me
too
tell you the premise of Invasion, Iowa. 2 guys come to me. I'm sitting around somewhere. 2 complete strangers. So we got an idea for a television show. You buy a town, and then you manipulate the people in the town. God, that sounds awful, you know. Wait a minute. What happens if we go into a town and we pretend, I'm saying this now to the 2 guys, and we pretend to shoot a movie, but what we're really doing is shooting the reaction of the people who we hire to be in this so-called movie, and we get production crew, and we get extras, and we cast people for this script that has 10 pages instead of 90. And we'll call the movie Invasion, Iowa, and it's going to be a science fiction film, and out of the horizon come these awful things, and you will play the part of the little old lady. It's a character role. Stand up. And turn around. This is a character role, okay? Invasion, Iowa, you're going to play the little old lady who deals a death blow to the alien with a scarf. You're going to wrap the scarf. Do it to, what's your name, handmaiden?
Lee Starshine.
Lee?
Yes.
Wrap your attack her with that, because she's an alien. There you go. That's it. That's it. Good. Pull. Stop. Perfect. Cut. You were wonderful.
Thank you. And I have acting skills at
So
the same level as the
we go
Iowans.
into Riverside, Iowa, which is the birthplace, the fictional birthplace of Captain Kirk, and they all know it. In fact, the mayor must have started it as a promotion for their town, Riverside, Iowa. So we go into Riverside, Iowa, and we're shooting for 10 days. 100 people, we bring 100 people from California, and we march into Riverside with a lot of fanfare. We're shooting this film, we need the town, and the town is like 10,000 people. They all cooperate. In fact, they cooperate so much that they start to befriend us. And I don't know whether you saw The Spy or read the book, The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. It's the spy who's undercover, who befriends the people he's about to betray, and the agony, the anguish of the people, of the spies like us. We had to be debriefed every morning and every evening. When we'd finish, we'd all meet in the hotel room, and we'd say, "Oh my God, this guy's my best friend, and and in 10 days' time, we're going to have to tell him the truth." It was hysterical. We were filming all of it, both our anguish and their joy, and finally the last dinner where we sat in a big U, as many as these people, for the last dinner, and we said, "You know, this movie we're shooting, it's not a movie." What? And you, who during the course of 10 days told me your innermost secrets, which we filmed. Like one of them said, because I kept asking, what do you really want to do? Well, what I really want, said one, is enough money to adopt my son, who's the young boy who's living with me. I want to adopt the boy. Another said, I want to take my whole family to Hawaii, but I'll never. And they expressed their dreams. And at the end, we gave them the money to fulfill their dreams. Half a dozen people, and then we gave a lot of money to the library, and we tried to salve the wounds of this double cross that we had. It was, in one scene, I said, because I was playing this over-the-top director. Now listen to me. No telephones here. Every time the telephone rings, we have to stop. We cut. I don't want any telephones here. That's an absolute no. There are no telephones here, you hear me? Or else you're fired. Now they tie me up and put me in a bed, and they start filming, and a phone rings. Whose phone is that? Get that, Brad. And it's my phone. It was that kind of stuff. We played it straight. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was my phone. Okay, but don't let anybody else have a phone. So it was great fun. What's your question?
What would it take for you to go back to Riverside, Iowa? They often do their annual
festival. Stretcher. And 12 people with automatic rifles. I don't know. I really mean it. There was a farmer. Don't worry about it. What are you doing?
Sorry,
well, you got something. A little Amish sneaking up going on here. A little fundamental handmaiden something going on. What do you got?
It's a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy. No, don't sing, please. Reminds me of me. Where were we? What was your question?
I asked you. You already explained. You would take
okay, so would I go back? What would it take to get Riverside, Iowa? I hope that those people that we fooled and then tried to make amends have forgiven me, because it was pretty mean. Because we got I've over the years evolved, as against developed, a knack for drawing people out. I'm genuinely interested in people. I want to know, what do you think and what he said. So I had an interview show called Raw Nerve, which I did for 3 years, and I got people to tell me things that they ordinarily wouldn't tell. And they do that because I do not present a threat. I'm not going to use the information to harm you. I'm just genuinely oh, Jesus, that hurt. I'm genuinely interested. Is there a dentist in the crowd? I'm genuinely interested in your story, and you can tell it. I'm not doing it to get some kind of angle on the story. I want to hear what you have to say. So I was able to draw these people out, and we established a real relationship. So you can imagine how badly everybody felt at the end of this glorious idea. When it came time to part, it was really tough. So no, I won't be going to Riverside for a while. Now, you have a telephone in your hand and a microphone in the other.
I do.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Brian, and this is my mom, Ruth, actually. So thanks for including her in your
Choke
directing.
him.
Yeah. So I have a kind of two-part question. So the first part
two-part
is,
question.
what was it like working with James Spader on Boston Legal? And
Fantastic.
the second part is, if Denny Crane were somehow magically transported to the future and had to defend Captain Kirk on insubordination charges for the Federation, or heaven forbid, sexual harassment charges, what would that entail, and how do you think that conversation between the two of them would go?
That's the most bizarre question I have ever been asked. If Denny Crane had to defend Captain Kirk on
insubordination or sexual harassment charges or something like that. In the
sexual
future.
harassment?
Either.
Captain Kirk sexually harassed her?
In the future, how would let's say insubordination charges? How would that go? The conversation between the two of them.
I tell you, what I'd rather do is
Yeah.
speak from facts rather than speculate on some obscure, rather stupid question.
Okay. Okay, well then what was it like working with James Spader?
Now you're talking.
You guys had the best
What?
Like you guys had the best relationship I've ever seen between two guys
Oh
on the
yeah,
show.
he was great. He is a great guy. You know, it's funny. Casts, people in a cast, the actors in a show, especially a long-running show, a long-running play, a series, a movie that goes on for a long time. Olivier, Marlon Brando. No, it was Laurence Olivier who coined the phrase, "The audience is the monster." Yeah, because when you're backstage waiting to go on, you don't hear individual voices. What you hear, put your phone away and listen to what I'm saying.
I am. All right.
Too many things going on in your head. Good, Mom. That's good. Now go to your room. What you hear backstage is, you don't hear individual words, but you hear this growling of the audience talking before the curtain goes up. It's kind of, if you could picture it, it's kind of like a monster. So Laurence Olivier said, we got to feed the monster. We come out on stage and we feed the monster. So there's a bit of that to begin with in every show where the actors are bonded because we all got to feed the monster who wants to be entertained every second of the time, and you don't dare lapse. A slight hesitation and the energy goes out. Now you got to work it. So everybody's got to be on their tiptoes, whether it's 12 hours in front of a camera or every night for 8 performances a week. So it's a bonding, and the cast all sticks together. And we've been in the trenches together. Then, when the show is over, with a few exceptions, the actors part and they never see each other again, because it's like saying, okay, well, it's the last day. I just did Big Bang Theory, been on for 10 years. Stupid show, I'm telling you.
Yes!
Okay.
Woo!
They had asked me for 10 years, they talked about me a lot, and then they kept asking me to be on it. I'm not going to be on your stupid show. And then they said, well, it's the last 10 shows, the last 10 years. So I said, I'll come in. So I came on and said goodbye. But they've been together 10 years. They love each other. And I'll bet you within a week or two with James, we parted company, and we haven't seen each other since. Talked a few times on the phone, but he got busy, I got busy. So it's like, tomorrow, we're leaving this last day. Oh, jeez, I'm sorry. We cried, man. We'll go to lunch tomorrow. No, I can't go to lunch tomorrow. We'll do the day after. No, I can't do the day after tomorrow. I'll call you. And a week later I call, and you part because he's now busy on this, and I'm busy on this, and so frequently, with great frequency, casts that have been together and bonded and love each other, because of the way the business works, we part and rarely see each other again. So James Spader is a wonderful guy and a wonderful actor. And, he's a straight shooter. I've forgotten what it was. It was like he was seated down with 3 or 4 people, and then Denny Crane walks in, and there's some piece of evidence there. So I thought it would be funny if I leaned over the evidence and my ass is in his face. I thought that would be funny, okay? He didn't think it was so funny. So instead of getting mad, like some people might puff up and pout and not speak for a while, he came to my dressing room and said, we need to talk. And we started talking about it. What a great guy. He took an incident that bothered him and brought it out front right away, and it dissipated, was gone, and I didn't stick my ass in his face.
Sounds just like your characters.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, William.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to first of all take the opportunity to, I know you have a birthday coming.
I do, and I try to forget it.
Oh, well.
No, after about, 25, 30 years of age, you start saying, no, I'm 31, it doesn't matter. 35, 49. For my 50th birthday, apparently, I've forgotten this, I went to bed for 3 days, okay? 60th birthday, it's getting like, geez, man, 60. A lot of my friends are 70 years old. 70 is bloody old. That's old, 70. Now you
Not
get
really.
to 80. How did that happen? I don't know. How old are you?
57.
57 is old.
It is.
Yes.
It is. But I wanted to wish you a happy birthday early.
Thank you.
My father happened to have exactly the same birthday as you. The same day, the same year.
Same year?
Yes. And he was very proud of that, actually. He used to tell me all the time, I have the same birthday
He
as
should be
Captain Kirk.
embarrassed. He's so old. How's he getting around?
He's not. He's not here anymore.
He's
you
dead?
are. Yes.
Why are you telling me that?
I'm not telling you that. No, but I'm telling you that he was very proud of having the same birthday as you. He's extremely so.
I'm very happy for him, but now we don't share the same birthday.
Well, but I always
Maybe I'll die on the same day he did. When did he die?
God forbid. God forbid.
God forbid.
Now the other thing I wanted to.
So far, there hasn't been a question.
No,
here.
the question. Okay.
There have been a few statements I'm taking umbrage.
I'm sorry. No, the question is this. So I was wondering if you were aware. Now this is a crazy question. Are you aware that the Student Center at McGill University is unofficially...
Wait a minute. Student Center at...
McGill University
McGill.
in Montreal, where my son goes to school.
My university.
Yes, my son goes to school there as well.
Really?
Yes.
What's he studying?
Math and economics.
It's a medical school.
Well, it is, but he's studying math and economics.
Why is he doing that? Why isn't he becoming a doctor? A nice Jewish doctor in New York. That's what we need.
That's what he should be, right? He's not. But anyway, but he told me, and I wonder if you were aware, that unofficially the Student Center at McGill is called the William Shatner Building.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he told me that. That was my question.
I don't know how that
question,
happened.
But
I'll tell you how it happened.
I'd like to know.
The only way I
But
can
I'll
think
tell
of it, the way it happened. When I was going to school, when I was going to university, I'm a Montrealer. Born in Montreal, went to school for the whole school system, and went to McGill. Graduated in economics, in Bachelor of Commerce, we called it up there. Bachelor of Business Administration, you called it in the States. But I never went to class. I never went to class. I would steal notes from people who went to the class. I'd read the books and then I would make, like 50 is a passing grade. I'd make 50.1.
There you go.
Sometimes I'd get 47.2, and I'd have to make that up during the summer. And I limped through university like that, through this business administrating, because I hated it. Because what I really wanted to do, what I had been doing since I was very young, was performing and directing and writing. So that's what I did at university. I got the education at McGill by putting on all the musicals and putting the plays and putting on the thing and I would do that in the basement of that building.
That's why then. So okay.
What?
That's why they called it.
That's why, yeah, because I inhabited that building for the years I was in university. So I think that's why they did.
So now I can tell my son I got that directly from you.
Yes,
Because he doesn't know why, and now I know why.
Now you know why.
So I'll tell him.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, and happy upcoming birthday. I hope
Oh,
it's
you have to
wonderful
say it
for you.
again.
No, I hope it's wonderful for you.
Thank you.
Well, hi,
My dear,
Hi there.
how I recognize you again.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice to see you again.
What's your name?
It's Chipper.
Right into the mic.
Hi, Chipper.
No, bring that mic right up there.
Chipper.
There you go.
Hey there.
Chipper?
Yep.
Yeah.
Loved you in Rescue 911.
Thank you.
Best show on
Oh,
TV.
my goodness.
Still love
Yeah.
that. Question: have you ever played a pirate? And if you were
Played
to
a
play
pirate?
Yes. And if you were to play a pirate, what pirate would you want to be? That's my
I think we all have to be sort of a pirate. You know? I don't know. Bluebeard? I can't think of a pirate's name. Pirate.
I figure you're very well read. So
Very well read, yes. Well, I read a bit about Blackbeard and I mean the reality of the pirates on those sailing ships were, well, they were more. There were pirates. There's pirates, now that I think about it, there are the pirates in the Somali area of the sea where they capture oil tankers and this marvelous story of our special forces who rescued one tanker. But what goes on there is these people are so poverty-stricken that they're doing it like the pirates of yore. They would steal from the rich, and they may not give much to the poor, but I think in the Somali cases, they are. They're taking funds, the kidnapping funds, and spreading it out a little bit. So what you're asking, an interesting philosophical question, is it morally right to steal to give to the poor, like Robin Hood, who could be termed a pirate?
That actually.
A little right up in the microphone, right up. No, a little. I can't hear you.
That's actually
no,
not where I was
closer.
That's
Closer. Let me see that to the back of your neck. What do you think? Is it morally right?
But to be a pirate? Well,
Oh, to steal to give to the poor.
No, stealing's never right.
Stealing's never right, even though you take the money and give to the poor.
It's never right.
Somebody's dying, needs food, okay? And somebody over here has got $10, and I slip the $10 out, and I say, here, save your life. That's not morally right?
Well, first you could ask them if they would like to, contribute.
You mean, would you mind if I steal some money for you so you can save your life?
No, the person that you're going to steal from.
I say, would you mind giving me $10 for the guy who can't work?
Perhaps.
And that guy's going to say, just put him to work.
You might be asking me. And I would say yes.
So I should ask. So now I'm in Somalia, and I should ask the oil tanker guy, would you give us some money because the pets?
This
yes,
has gone in a
right,
really,
right.
strange,
So there you are.
route.
Exactly. It's a much more fermenting and formidable question you've asked than would I play a pirate?
There's a lot to think about.
You see?
Yes,
Okay,
I
lots
do.
to think about. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for the answer.
Oh, I avoided that answer, didn't I?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
My question for you is this. With your incredible body of work as an actor...
And incredible body.
As an actor, is it the goal of an actor for the embodiment of the work or to be known for one particular role? So would you be known for one role, would you prefer, or your entire body of work?
The audience makes that selection, but for me, whether I'm doing what I'm doing with you right now, trying to be amusing and answer your questions at the same time, keep you all from walking out the door, or whether it's here or whether it's doing something on stage. Last night I was in front of 2,000 people. I'm trying to do my best to give myself completely to whatever it is that I'm doing with all the powers that I have been gifted with, that through experience have honed, that I've tried to develop one way or another, either physically or mentally, intellectually. Try to hone those gifts to be able to appear in front of you and do whatever it is I'm doing. So I don't think in those terms of that part or the no matter what it is I'm doing, I'm trying to do my very best to make it more palatable, if you will.
Thank you very much.
Hello. I have a question about...
Well, what did you say?
I said hello.
Yes, but it was right down here.
Hello. Yeah, my voice gets deep, sorry. My question is about...
Right into the mic.
They're launching a new Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And you were in a couple of episodes that were very classic. And I was wondering what you thought about the relaunch. You haven't seen it, obviously. But can you tell us a little bit about those days of shooting the Twilight Zone episodes that you were in? Because I think you were in a couple of them, right?
A couple, yeah. You know, I don't remember. You can sit down. I can take this question. Sitting down. Well, you don't have to go far. Don't leave the room, for Christ's sake. Yeah, bye-bye. Having asked the question, he leaves the room. Wouldn't that be funny? Every time I see you. I got you. What's happened is the way Twilight Zone worked and these episodic, what's the word I want, where it's one show every week. What? Anthology, that's the exact word. So we used to have a lot of anthologies, and Twilight Zone being one of them. Every week, a new story. So the theme would be strange, like not necessarily science fiction, but something strange happens. In fact, it had to happen. Something strange, some twist had to happen. What's his name? Rod Sterling had 4 writers. He called them his green thumb. George Clayton Johnson was one. Richard Matheson was 2, and there were 2 others. The guy I did a movie with, who wrote The Intruder. No, not Ellison. William Nolan was the third. The guy I'm thinking of is the 4th. He wrote The Intruder. Look up who wrote The Intruder. Well, the reason I'm saying that is that guy wrote a number of them, and I wanted to give you his bizarre life story. So we went from anthologies to nowadays, and I'm actively trying to sell shows, and I'm this close to selling a number of shows, including animated shows. I know this is comic books as well. I'm actively trying to sell shows that are animated in one type of animation or another. We all know Flash, but then there's 3D, and then there's cells, and I mean, it just goes on. The different types of animation used in films. So there's this anthology show. We're very popular in 20 years ago. What's happened now is the networks, all the people that exhibit Hulu and Google, and people who want to exhibit want something like 6 or 8 hours of something. Like the show I got really caught up in was the life and death of Gianni, the designer. Versace. Yeah, Gianni Versace. I got caught up in that. So that's a perfect example of what the people in Hollywood are being asked to do by the people who exhibit the work based on what you all want to see. So the distillation of what you've told in one form or another told the people who are responsible for the networks that you watch have come to the conclusion that what you guys want, what American audiences want, is like Gianni Versace, 6, 8, 10 hours of an event, and then that's the end of it. So we who make these shows now understand that whereas Star Trek would get an order for 24 hours of material, so we'd be at work all year long making 24 one-hour shows. Now it's 6, 8, 10 shows, and it's much more limited, and that's what the audience wants. So anthology shows like Twilight Zone are no longer popular, and the fact that they're resurrecting Twilight Zone with all those wonderful half-hour twist stories. One of them, well, the two that I was on was seeing this Czechoslovakian acrobat on the wing of an airplane, and the other was the machine that kept giving you the fortune, which was so obscure that it froze him. He couldn't move. Be careful of where you go. You never know what's going to happen. As vague as that, you know, I better not go. So those wonderful story ideas, and there were so many of them by these guys. Has anybody looked up The Intruder? What? No, Roger Corman directed it. Charles Beaumont. Did you look it up or did you remember? That's fantastic. Okay, so Charlie Beaumont wrote The Intruder, and he was one of the Green Thumb who wrote many of that show. Charles Beaumont wrote a book called The Intruder, in which a guy from New York City goes down to the South and during integration, and rouses these small towns to fight against integration. He was like the worst of the Nazi, but he was no Nazi. It was like a very peculiar, strange mental illness that guy from the North goes down to the South to rail against integration. And he and I, as a result of the movie, became friends. What happened to Charlie Beaumont was we came back from the movie, and in defiance of what I had said earlier, we bonded, and we would meet every week, twice a week, have lunch. And he'd have a cocktail to drink, and then he'd get drunk on one cocktail. Wow, it's kind of weird. And then as a year went by, he got further and further along, more and more inebriated on one drink, and he began to look like he was getting old. Within a year, he had become an old man, and we didn't realize it. His family, I, and Charlie, didn't realize that's a disease. You die of old age in a very short period of time, and that's what happened. Charlie Beaumont lived a Twilight Zone. Yeah. Okay. What? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Just wants to say hello and
goodbye.
Thank you for coming to
Come on.
Thank you, Mr. Shatner.
Hi.
I'm Mike's media partner. We have a show called Selling Heroes, and we stream
What?
Selling Heroes.
Selling Heroes.
Yeah, we're the Selling Heroes.
Is that like a sandwich?
Yeah. We sell comic book heroes.
Yeah, that's.
This is my wife, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon. How are you? You look familiar.
Is it true Yeoman Rand got thrown off the show because they wanted you more involved with the other women that you find on your adventures?
She got thrown off the show because she was getting involved with the producers.
Ah. Well, me and Mike have been doing shows for 50 years.
Oh,
And we've never seen a more transparent, present person to present themselves the way you have today, and we thank you very much.
Oh, my goodness, thank you. What a pleasure being with you. Pleasure being with you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
William Shatner, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, that was the best, man. 22 years. All right, Mr. Shatner, thank you so much. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. We'll be here for the next 24 hours, today, tomorrow. Bill will be signing, and there's a meet and greet tomorrow morning that's really cool with Bill. You can get all the information upstairs. We'll be signing all day till the end of the day.